Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode of Dead Space Podcast. And as usual, we have an encouraging guest among us. He is the biggest CEO in Cross River States. So, welcome, Mr. Ikechukwu.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming and share.
Thank you, Barry.
Okay, so what inspired you to venture into entrepreneurship and what drives your passion for business?
All right, great. Let me reintroduce myself again. My name is Dr. Ikechukwu Ukweh. I'm a medical doctor first before I got into business. I started business as a medical student in my third year. And what was the drive? Just to offer service. I saw a need. At the time, I was a unicorn. And at that point, there was no visible cyber cafe in the whole of Calabar that time. In fact, the only one that was available was at Etabo. And then students queue on the line to go and check emails. This is in the late 90s. And I found research. So I was a student then. And I also have families abroad that I was sending email, but that was the only way I can reach out to people, families, So each time I go there, queue on the line, I hear people, they read out your email, you are hearing because you don't want to pay money to print it out. So you go in on the queue, they read your mails. And on that queue, I told myself that this is not right. What can be done? So that was the drive. And I had two other friends who I also have same passion, and that was how we started the first business to open a cyber cafe in Unica. In fact, if you go to Unica where they have the SCG Central Point, that was where our cafe was. And I'm sure those who were in school there between 95 up until 2003, browsed from that cafe. That cafe solved a lot of people's problems. And then we made our money from that cafe, and from there, business continued. I finished school, opened a software company, started building software for institutions. From there, we got into hospital, and then Aruba was bettered 2015, precisely 1st of November 2015. Aruba started, and then see the drive to offer service. Aruba came in because it's a story I don't like telling, but Aruba came on board because we lost a baby in a government hospital, and then and circumstances surrounding that death was something that could have been prevented. There was no lights, there was no oxygen, there was no drops in the hospital. And as I was walking out from that hospital, they dropped in my spirit that there's also a gap here now. There's a gap. So what do you do? And normally I don't have all the resources to start up something, but once I have the vision, once I have the desire, and once I'm convinced that God is in this business, then the resources will come. And that was how we got to build Aruba, and Aruba is still there. We are 10 this year. And the same service drove us into hospitality industry. We got to a point to people come into town and they are looking, where can we stay? Not so pricey, but something that is affordable, something that is okay with what you can pay and get something worth that payment. And then I saw that too. And that was how this also came into be. So all the drive, the passion is to fulfill a gap and to solve a problem. That's what drives us into the business. And that is where I am. Beyond these ones that you've known, I've also done other businesses. Yes, I've also had failures in some businesses. I did boutique because I also saw there was a need. In fact, yes, at the time I finished as a doctor, I saw that there was a particular brand called the TN Wiwi shirt. I discovered that at that point, people were looking for where to buy the shirt. And I had my family living in the UK. And they had a link to the brand, So I said, okay, why don't I open it? So that was how I opened a boutique. So we are selling the brand, But with time, when the fake was much in the market, so we stopped. So that was how the boutique closed. So I never did boutique after 2 years. And which other business afraid? I do water business too. Yes, I was the sole distributor for Gozi Water, a USC product. USCA product, and we marketed it all across River State, and then we supplied motels, supplies, beateries, and everything. That one also collapsed because the debt was so much. Yes, and I stopped it. So those are the two businesses I know that did this last beyond 2 years. But every other one we have done has succeeded, and they still succeeded.
So you said it's school the Unicorn.
Yeah.
So is that why you chose Calabar to establish your?
Well, there is something called location in terms of a success. When I finished school and housemanship, I left Calabar to Abuja because I felt everybody was leaving for Abuja. That's where things were happening. That was in 2015. And I got to Abuja. I discovered that that was not where I was meant to be. I lived in Abuja for 2 years. And then things weren't just, coming up. Things weren't just working. 205. I left Abuja 205, not 205. And things weren't just coming up the way it ought to be. My first son was born there. And after that, I was looking for a way to come back. In fact, it dawned on me in my spirit that Abuja is the wrong location, maybe to relocate. And I was looking for how to relocate. That this thing that you've told your friend that, oh, I've gone, Calabar, bye-bye. So I was not thinking, how do I come back to the same city I said I've gone? But God has a way, even when you have made some errors, God has a way of retracing your step back. So I was looking for what to do, to put up that shame to come back. And then I got this job in an NGO, and they had the interview. They asked me, the only location we have is Calabar. And in my spirit, it just dropped that this is divine, you need to go. So in that interview, I said, I am going. And the woman said to me, don't be in a hurry to say they're going. Go home and speak to your wife. People feel that if you're in Abuja, why go to Calabar? But I knew that I needed to leave Abuja. And this is the only way I can go back with a job in my hand. That's what brought me back. So I said, I don't need to ask my wife. My wife is already aware that we want to go back to Calabar. So if you give me the job, by next week we're off to Calabar. They said, oh really? I said, yes. So that was how I got the job. And let me shock you. I got into Calabar to resume the job. And then on a Sunday, I got a mail that, that we're sorry that that space is no more there. But the space have been created for you in Abuja back. Yes. I resigned the next day. It's a job I got. I didn't earn salary. I relocated from Abuja to Calabar, and I resigned the next day. I told them that, oh no, that I'm sorry I can't come back to Abuja, but I've gone, that I'm in Calabar. I've already moved my family to Calabar. I've already moved by this and that I'm fine. That they shouldn't bother about paying me anything, that they should bother that I don't want the job. She was somehow bitter because she felt she had disrupted my stay in Abuja, but she didn't know that she has fulfilled the promise that God had done for me. So I told her, don't worry, I'm fine, I'm gone, and that was how he came back to Calabar. So I had the chance to leave Calabar, but I didn't leave. I left, but I came back, and that's why I'm here.
Can you share a pivotal moment in your career that shaped your approach to business?
Yes. In fact, in my third year, we were doing the exam. We were doing the exam with our third, and because in the medical students, the third year is the first exam you're going to do to determine whether you're going to cross over the clinical science, clinical class or not. In that exam, I had a friend. My reg number is 181. My other friend is 180. The other one was 179. So we normally sit together to write the exam. My friend who has 179 have never paid school fees in Unical. So he has his way. He has his way of getting receipts and sorting himself out. And we, the church people, we go and pay. We queue on the line. To pay school fees in Unical in our time is a big task. You have to go to the bank by 5 a.m., queue on the line, take a number, either go home and shower or stay there until the bank opens at 8. So we struggle, so we pay. For the third year, I have this friend, so we started the exam. I have paid. Now, my surname is Ukweh. My Ukweh has a H on it. and then so I got a receipt, and the faculty officer didn't put sketch on my surname, so I used my biro to put sketch, and corrected it in my biro. I didn't know it was a crime. So during the exam, they were asking everybody to present your receipts in the exam, so I showed mine, and the guy going around said, "This looks like fake." I paid school fees, right? My friend who didn't pay had a clean receipt by my side, and they didn't stop it. They were writing as that. So I asked to stand and step aside, why they sought out to confirm whether my receipt is original or not. So in the course of those days, we destabilized me for the exam, and that, also dropped and there's something in my heart that how can we dictate those who have fake receipts to the exam? That was how I started doing software business. So our software was to now begin to be a portal to manage school fees payments. One, to solve a problem of people going to the bank by 5 a.m. to go and pay. Two, to be able to solve the problem of those who fake receipts to come into exam hall. So that moment actually changed, my orientation about business, and actually brought me into the limelight of trying to ensure that we stop, students carrying fake receipts.
How do you balance managing multiple businesses, and what strategies do you use to ensure success?
Okay, how do I manage business for multiple businesses? I use technology and human beings. Now, what I have done is to identify some members of my team that I can, give some directives on what to do. I have a team that I've been with the team for the last 7-8 years. So it's built a team, and so somebody is in charge of finances, is helping me to oversee what happens in the area of finance. I have somebody managing the business in the headnet area. I have somebody managing the food aspect, technology, so I do more of coordination. I do more of, I sit down and I retrieve information from each member of this team and fix it and be able to analyze it. And sometimes they are also surprised when I am able to identify some loopholes, because they don't know that most times I also go through what they submitted. And I see what they submit. Once in a while I run a check, and then to dictate, where there are issues or things I need to correct. So technology have also helped. Every aspect of our business is connected to a software. So it's easier to analyze those stuff using the software. So those are the two things that we have done to be able to do that, ensure that we're optimal in terms of delivery of services. And most times, for instance, I haven't consulted Aruba in the last 8 years. Yeah, but luckily it's partially that was working, but I'm into what happens there today. So I know what happens there. I make my inputs and ensure that the services are good and running. So we utilize human beings and we utilize the ability to success.
What motivated you to invest in the cinema industry?
The same as the setting, one of the things that you can take away from this podcast is the fact that every business we have ventured into was to solve a need and to deliver service. And you know that in the principle of work creation, once you can deliver service, people are willing to exchange finances for what they are delivering services for. Cinema has been an issue in Calabar. They don't have, with the ones that they have up and down. And I asked myself a question, there's a need for this. You have a space. Why don't we create a hub where people come in lodge, you can go to the cinema, you can play game, you can go to the club, you can do it in real lounge, so that is a one sector that fits all. So when we come into that place, you can have it for. So that's the reason why we can try to test cinema. I know that people have asked, it is not so lucrative, but the cinema business is not lucrative, especially if you are in a town like Calabar, that people have with the crowd that watching cinema mostly the wits, and they take towards watching the Hollywood movies. And the Hollywood movies are not so considered. We have more Bollywood in the movies, and then they wait until they have newer versions of Hollywood movies to call. But the beauty about it is that the cinema is in the center of other businesses. So we have other things that keep it worried. And so far it's look good. And I'm fulfilled that I'm able to solve that. But today, Uyo does not have again. Yeah. So now people say, oh, why don't you come to Uyo and put up this again? And I said to people in Uyo, you have all the rich men in the year to have businessmen in the year. So they should also go through this year. Yeah. Once that mean? Just for me, not that is capital intensive to open the cinema, but once open, case is good to
Speaking about movies, there are not much movies that come from Oshibo states. Have you aired any Koshiba-based movie, or are you planning to air any?
In fact, we just we did one. We had one called The Masking. The Masking was basically a story about Calabar and their tradition, and it made an impact. But I think that's to be the first Calabar movie that we are airing in the cinema. And people have also brought up proposals for us to collaborate. I jokingly told somebody yesterday when he was telling me that, oh, you have a movie you want to shoot a collaboration with others. I said, please, I'm not a producer. Yeah, but if he produces a break for us to show in our cinema, that's perfect. We can support. But so we have had one, The Masking, and it was a good blockbuster producer. We are open to seeing more. As long as it is cinema friendly, we're really for sure it.
You opened a film. You have a plan. Why did you go into that? Seeing that the space is already too saturated. There are already a lot of blockbusters.
Well, as at the time we also opened the club, it wasn't saturated. I know that as at the time we opened, we had like number 3, Mariam, and the only one is State Hauser. And we wanted to, like I said, we wanted to create that platform where people can have one-stop entertainment. There are people that who are our guests, and they go out to that club. I said, why don't you also create the platform for them to also have fun? We have a hall. That's for now, and that's the most convenient and easy to access all in the city of Calabar. Now, we have weddings almost every weekend. We go once to do rose party in the night of Friday, and then they want to go out, we'll do that part. So why don't you create a platform for them to also do that in the same environment, the same space, anyway. So that's the reason why the town is not saturated. The town needs to have more people with money. We don't have as many clubs that they have in Ikeja. Ikeja is just a local government in Lagos. The whole club in the city of Calabar is not up to the number of clubs you have in Allen Avenue in Ikeja. Allen. Not talking about Isaac Jones. So that is just a local government in Lagos. And you're talking about Calabar Municipality, Calabar South, and every environment. And you have only 3 plots. What we should be paying for is to have more men that have liquid cash that want to relax on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. If we have that, then we probably will be okay on the side.
Speaking about clubbing or cash, what do you think about Yahoo Boys?
Well, the honest truth remains the fact that the system has a way of fishing the guys out, and nobody wants to be a victim of the Yahoo stuff, and so they are there, and that's the job of the EST SATAT. I know that I am not one, and I have none in my family, so I don't know how they function. I don't know how they operate, but I know that there are agencies saddled with the responsibility to be able to find them out, and then they have the way of taking themselves out. So but the city somehow, I one of the things I also say is that even if you are into such a trade, your parents shouldn't showcase that is what you do. So that's where they get it wrong. You can easily say this is a Yahoo boy. Yeah, can easily say that. And but where you live the shores of this country and you see those who also into such crime abroad, they don't look such ways. So I'm not trying to paint them to change and teach.
So you don't follow them with them.
Well, like I said, I'm not in that business, and I don't want to talk about that business.
No problem. How has your approach to business changed over time? And what lesson have you learned along the way?
Okay, my approach has always been to satisfy my customer. My approach has always been to ensure that whatever I offer or promise to offer, I go beyond that. In fact, the slogan for my IT company is beyond our promise. So that whatever I promise to offer my guests, I should go beyond that, offer them, that services. And I have this the interest in ensuring that when I have one customer who is not satisfied, I go overboard to satisfy that customer, because the greatest advert you have in business is a satisfied customer. So once you're able to satisfy a customer and he or she is happy, I can assure you that that person becomes your advert, becomes your radio, becomes your internet, everything. The same way too, if you have a bad customer who you don't satisfy, so the person also goes ahead to destroy the business. So every effort I do every day is to ensure I have customers who are satisfied. Whatever I can do to achieve that, I do that honestly and diligently to ensure that I deliver that to my customers. So that has been what has been carrying us sometimes.
In all our conversation, I picked out something, which is you love to meet needs where there is a vacuum, a lot of filling space. So what do you think Cross River State government can do to better the entertainment space, hospitality, and meet the needs of this out?
Okay, great. Currently the government is on the right track. Though it's slow, but they're on the right track. The beauty about life is that if you are on the right track, that determines the speed at which you get your destination. I can be going to yacht and I can decide to go by sea, by road, with a bike, with a bicycle, or a trek. All will lead me to you. But at what time will I get to you? Right. So for now, they're on the right track. First is that they have been able to solve the issue of insecurity. That is critical. Any business of hospitality or entertainment, if you don't have security, is zero. You will not succeed. So at least they have been able to an extent, 90% or even not 95%, provided that security for these people that come into the states to either do any form of ceremony and to go back peacefully. Before people can even come to Calabar, they'll be calling you and asking you, is it safe to come? Is it safe to come? Well, now nobody's asking you again that question. Is it safe to come? People are coming. So that's one part. The second part that they need to do so much and do fast is to create access by road. Most people, no matter how secure and safe the water is, will never use water. So if they can create and fasten this Calabar Bitu highway, Calabar Ecom highway, I am sure they're going to reach clock up cap. I have friends who wants to come into Calabar for retail, from Umaya, from Ulio, on my back, come into Calabar on Friday, party on Friday, rest Saturday, Sunday they are back. But because they are not sure what happens at that road, they don't want to come. So if government can also fix the road, that's fine. The third aspect is government should create an enabling environment for investors. Lagos is what it is today because of the amount of industries and companies they have. So if Cross River today has hub where people are doing business, there are the more people coming to town, businesses will thrive, people will sleep in hotels. Cross River, Calabar today doesn't even have enough hotels. In fact, today I know the amount of people coming to town looking for hotels to sleep. Everywhere is filled up because there's an important area happening tomorrow in town. So everywhere is filled up. So we never have enough. So imagine when the town begins to have more businesses, what will happen? So government needs to provide the infrastructure, create a little empowerment for investors, and sustain the security that I've already provided. With those things, I believe that every business is verified.
Thank you very much. So what advice would you give young entrepreneurs coming up that want to start?
Okay. For the young ones, I was a young man, so don't mind me. I'm still coming up, so it's not as if I've arrived anywhere. I'm just coming up. But for those who are also coming up, like me, there are key things you must look out for. One, that you must be knowledgeable in the things you want to be. Knowledge is key. Knowledge is power. You might not need to acquire that knowledge all by yourself. You can network to be able to acquire more knowledge. You can even bring somebody who has better knowledge than you to the business and you do better. Never have this question that I want to be a CEO. That's what young people that these days. In fact, somebody I was asking a person yesterday, I said, what time are we going to have a meeting? They say, sir, I'm the one of my business, so I wake up when I want to wake up. Can we schedule the meeting by 12? And I said to the person, even though yes, you're the owner of the business, you also have to be disciplined enough to wake up by 8 and do your business. So, let people not have this notion that, oh, I want to be the CEO. Then you not start struggling to do the things. You just say start today, run for 1-2 years and they fall. So you need to be knowledgeable. And you can seek knowledge from everywhere. There's knowledge to resort after from the internet, from YouTube, or these days on television, from Instagram, anywhere you can seek for knowledge. Second, that you must be able to network well. The information you are going to get from somebody who already has done that business ahead of you with the worldwide that you struggle to get the load. So when you network well, it will increase your net worth and it will also give you this enablement resource for what to lead to succeed. The third is that you must be humble enough to learn. Humble enough to learn. You must be humble enough to look at what you can do to better your customers' desire. Whatever you are doing, if you want to be a tailor, you must look out for how to be the best in that industry. If you are baking, you must bake the best. If you are doing foods, you must do the best. Whatever you are doing, and your enemy have not come to patronize you, you're not doing well. Any business you are doing, and your enemy looks around and cannot find any other person better than you, you have not done well. You must be able to strive to the extent that someone who doesn't like you will still patronize you because you are delivering the best in your skill in your areas of you are choosing to serve. So anybody who is going to do business, you must be able to have this at the back of it. And finally, beyond these three I've mentioned, you must be diligent. And once you are diligent, when that really says it, once you are diligent, you will stand before kings, not before you. So you must be diligent in the things that you do. And finally, if you don't have this, the other rest of the ones we have, to be fair, you must have a debit. If you tell somebody that I will deliver your clothes on Monday, the 22nd of whichever month, he will deliver it before 22nd. You must have people must be able to vouch for it. You must be able to say that, why? Oh, take these clothes to David. David is the best seamstress we have. David is the best tailor we have. The David says in the second, 21st, or 27th, people must learn to do that. You must have integrity. If you say that you are going to offer people 3-course meal at this amount of money, please offer that. Don't cut corners to pet anything you want to pet. Integrity is key. If you have integrity, you will go hard. I know that people tend to have greed is one of the enemies of the integrity. Greed. So once you can surpass greed, you are on the path of success. And once you have integrity, I can assure you by success. Guarantee. Thank you for having me.
I'm learning a lot. I'm enjoying this session. I don't want it to end. Okay, should we be expecting anything new? Any new business? Any new?
Well, yes. In a couple of weeks from now, by God's grace, in July, new hobbies with the fail. We're having a new hobbies. The 12th room, well furnished, top notch interiors, beautiful location, well secured. Maybe unveil by 30th of July. then Wednesday, that's where we will unveiling that, and then we intend to move. After now, we are not able to move to another state. But for now, we open in July, and then we now start taking plans to move to other states. So that will conclude our third hobbies in the city of Calabar.
And you say you're not up there. You're up there. Okay, one last question. What are the roles of friendship on the road to success?
Oh, great. I've had some wonderful friends growing up in university, even though that friendship thwarted after university, but good friends are enablers in business, because your friends are the ones that also will be your spokesperson elsewhere when you are not there. And but the one I pray against is they call your friend enemies. Yes, they claim to be your friends, and they don't want you to succeed beyond them, so they cool you down. But they come to you and say they're your friends, and then when they're outside, they try to cool you down. But if you have good friends, I can assure you, is a catalyst for success. Because I've had friends in the course of my building a hotel. I ran out of pots, and the friends gave me for me without any interest and said, "You don't return it back to me." And because of that nature of integrity, I return everybody's money before the time we were there. Tomorrow again, if I call them to give me, they will give you, because I have never failed them. So if you have friends, please, for whatever reason, do not take advantage of being friends with somebody and borrow money from somebody I don't want to pay. Say, as my friend, you should understand now. No. In fact, your friend is the person you should even keep optimals of integrity, because he's the closest ally that you have. So you must be able to ensure that your friends are sensitive to it. They have been good to me, and I've been good to them. And once you are out there doing business, good friends are needed for a business to succeed.
All right, thanks for coming on the show. I'd like to have you another time. So the really nice conversation. We've come to the end of today's episode. Giza.
Thank you for having me, and I wish you the best. I believe great places, and there will interview great CEOs and corporate heads and government agencies will also come to your rising. Thank you very much.